What's the final tally?
All right. Nigel, do you want to hit us up with the old Cage curse tracker? Been a minute since we've had a somewhat heavy one. This one felt a little heavy, but maybe not.
Oh, it is up there in the list.
He said motherfuckers and like 4 times in the same sentence at one point.
Yeah, I was working overtime on some of those outbursts, like having to rewind it and make sure I got everything right. Motherfucker, mother. Dildo to mouth and ass to mouth and dildo and ass to ass and all that. I was like, what the fuck? Anyway, there was a total of 40 curses that I counted in this, which puts it up there. I mean, the only movies that are higher are Unbearable Weight for some reason, which is 52. Bad Lieutenant was 60. Weatherman was also 40. Vampire's Kiss at 47 and Deadfall at 44. But other than that, it's in that top. What is that? 5, 6? It's up there, and I think maybe that was due to him just being improv-y. Like they just let him say a lot of that. It feels like when he goes off the rails, he really goes off the rails in these scenes.
I got the sense that he improv'd a lot in this movie.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I had a copy of the movie that didn't have any kind of like commentary or special features of any kind. So I would have liked to have seen some of that stuff to kind of see the process of this film.
There's a part when he's talking about when he's like, there's a fucking kid zone and an adult zone or whatever he says, and he goes, but he does it in like the Peter Lowe voice. Like you can tell he's reverting back to now we know is his own father's way of talking. Yeah. So he was like channeling his dad whenever he goes back to like, bad dad mode, I guess. So he did it in color out of space as well. Mm-hmm. So
I wonder how August Coppola felt about that.
Maybe that's why he enjoyed doing this movie. It was like sort of cathartic for his own feelings with his own parenthood and his own dad and all of that. It's sort of like, in a weird way, I think everybody can relate to it. So
yes, 100%.
Yeah. Anyway, so we had 1 use of hell, 1 damn, 3 goddams, only 3 shits, but 5 asses, and 3 Jesus Christ. One's in there, 1 use of God, and 23 fucks, which again is on the higher end. It's only been beaten out by Deadfall, Weatherman, Bad Lieutenant, Unbearable Weight, which again was bizarre that he swore that much in that, but yeah.
I mean, he was playing Nick Cage, so it makes sense. Nick Cage seems to really love the word fuck.
And Nikki, too. Nikki loves the word fuck.
I'm curious if we will top Bad Lieutenant's 41 fucks in any of these movies that we get to from here on out. That'd be something to see.
So what's our grand total?
672.
Oh man, I really wonder where we're going to end up breaking down every single one of those curses by the end, like when we finish this show, if we ever finish this show.
I don't think we ever
We're going to finish it, but will Cage finish before we're all dead?
Yeah.
Because that guy's going to go forever.
Oh, yeah, he's not stopping.
Runtime, this was the shortest movie we've ever done. Aside from Dark, but that's not a movie.
That's not a movie.
This was 86 minutes, which was 2 minutes shorter than Willy's Wonderland. So shortest movie we've ever done, which was pretty crazy. We've done 38 movies at this point. 86 minutes is the shortest. This didn't feel like it felt like the pacing was really well done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I felt like each act was very kind of succinct for what it was trying to do each time around. So yeah, it was well. I mean, you probably could have added more character development in this movie. I feel like some of the characters were a little thin, but for the most part, still fleshed out enough to where I'm like, there's so many like horror movie trope characters that you didn't really need to flesh them out.
Yeah.
Because we're like, I've seen this character 100 times. Vapid bitch, into drugs, rich kid. We don't need any more.
Oh, Black Hero.
Riley is completely the what?
Black Hero.
Yeah, Damon. Yeah, I felt like Damon got enough screen time to where I kind of understood his, smart kid, obviously in shitty situation in his own life. Definitely has an instinct to save Carly because he's experienced bullshit with his own parents, obviously. So yeah, I felt like he was well developed. But anyways, 86 minutes. Pretty crazy. Nudity, we had 2 breasts. They are seen like 400 times in the movie, but it is the same set each time out. So we can only count 2 breasts. It's kind of funny. You could leave nudity up on the screen the entire movie, but as long as it's the same set, then it's like, it's like Lula in Wild at Heart. She's naked like constantly throughout the whole movie, but it's the same breasts the whole time. But anyways, that brings our grand total up to 64 over our 38 films. About 2 breasts per film.
It'd be funny if we end up with an even or odd number.
An odd number.
There's been a lot of like, just here's one, which is weird. You never see that in reality. Like, you're going to see one, you're probably going to see the other. But in the movies, we've had many just single breasts so far. State and country tracker, they left this ambiguous. I think it was supposed to be America's suburbs, but it was filmed in Kentucky. And since they never mention it in the film, I just went with Kentucky. Which I feel like we're kind of getting into this gray area with a lot of these movies where it's sort of like ambiguous as to where they are. But because they're filmed there and they feel like they're a part of that place, and I feel like we can count it.
It's in the credits. The credit.
It is
Kentucky.
in the credits. But I don't think it's mentioned at any point throughout the film, which I think was intentional. Anywhere USA, really. But that brings our grand total up to 22 total states. We've been checking off quite a few, just random ones this season. From Kansas, Montana, Colorado, Wyoming. Most of those were in Old Way, but many flyovers are getting counted this season, thankfully, which I didn't know if we were going to get to some of those.
Yeah.
We got South Dakota in the next episode, so.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Budget versus gross. This is a $4 million budget. Made $286,313.
Ouch.
Which I got to wonder, like, how was it released? It's got to be just it was in a small run.
Yeah.
But it was released in the UK as well. Released in the States, released in the UK. You'd think it would make more than that. Cage, Selma Blair. So that brings our grand total up to $1.076.7 billion budget with $2.384 billion gross, which is going to go up substantially in our next film. Bafflingly, National Treasure 2 made over $400 million.
Yep.
Which is crazy money. As far as our top grossing films, this is not, close to the bottom because we've had a lot of these movies like, Dying in the Light, Doggy Dog, Prisoners of the Ghostland, movies that just did not make any money. And I don't think they were intended to make any money. And this was like in the midst of Cage's kind of direct-to-video run, and it may have only gotten a release because it got pretty good reviews, 75% on Rotten Tomatoes. So maybe that's why it made anything.
I think it's probably made it back on streaming with this film. Like I noticed, it's on Hulu right now, so some deal was penned to pay for it there. It's probably bounced around to different streaming services. So. Yeah, $4 million is not that hard to make back. I doubt it had any marketing either. So
yeah, we've kind of talked about it that this was sort of the beginning of his ascent back. It was like he got pretty good critical reviews from this movie, and that kind of led to Mandy. XYZ was involved in this film and Mandy, and I think that's where Elijah Wood had seen him in Mom and Dad, was like, we could get Cage for Mandy. That'd be amazing, For those who don't know, Elijah Wood was part of the team behind Mandy and had worked with Cage on The Trust. Anyways, ratings, this was the 21st R rated, so it did get a rating because it did come out in theaters. So I gotta wonder how many theaters it came out in. Feels like it would have done better. Should have done better. I think nowadays it would have come out a little wider. but maybe not. I thought the old way was going to come out wide, but it didn't. Anyways, that leads us over to the Cage kill tracker.
All right. We got some kills on this one. He got 2 kills. He is responsible for both of his parents' deaths. So that brings
Kind of
us
ironic, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. So that brings us up to 181 kills. And then we don't know what the fate of him and Kendall is. So
I mean, his dad did say he was going to get him, and maybe he did stab him to the point where he would
where he
eventually die. But we don't see him die.
But we don't know. Yeah. So 0 deaths in this one. So still sitting at 11.